All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's a show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in 3 categories: education, storyteller and drama, and arts. For 5 years and with over 280 weekly episodes and 64 million plus downloads, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast has provided advice and tips from international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest judges and winners, and industry professionals. It is based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard to help the aspiring writer and artist no matter their age, race, ethnicity, or gender. It is dedicated to the future of storytelling and art by showing that it is never too late to start, and those who make it are those who never give up. We are all busy, but I'd be so grateful if you could take a moment and vote now. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in any or all 3 of the categories: education, storyteller, drama, or art.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to my show, Into the Night with me, Sean Kelly. And it's going to be an exciting show tonight. I had Richie B and Mr.Wojo on Sunday night, and they discussed a little bit about their paranormal or Bigfoot investigations. And they came back tonight, and we're going to see some evidence on their investigations. And really, really excited. You know, I've seen the evidence, and it's really, really interesting. I want to thank all of Banter with Richie B friends to my show tonight. Hello, Carrie Lynn. Good to see you. Thank you for sharing it out, hon. Appreciate it. But thank you, Bantering with Richie B, all his people that are in the chat room tonight, too. I surely appreciate it. But real quick announcement, I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. And it's still hot. I go, hey, Holly, good to see you, hon. So I got in my car after work today, and it was 111 degrees. And I'm like, oh, man, I can't deal with this stuff. But you know what? I got a good show tonight. Got the AC on. And you know what? I am really looking forward to this evidence, and I hope you guys are too. And I want to say hello to everybody in the world that watches our show. We are listened in Russia, we're listened in China, Australia, all over, New Zealand, Japan, Israel, everywhere. So not just the United States, but the whole world. And without further ado, I want to bring my guests, Richie B and Mr.Wojo.
What's up, everybody? Hello, world. How's everybody doing?
Come on.
Would you find Mr. Wojo? Where'd he go?
There he is.
There he is.
Hello. How you doing, my friend?
Are you wearing gold necklace tonight?
Oh, come on. Bring the Lord with me everywhere I go.
There you go. Why not? You know, that's good. Hey, Lisa, good to see you, hon. Hello, Michelle. Good to see you. So, guys, what
What's
have you
up?
been up to since Sunday? Tell
Oh
me.
man, yeah,
Talk to me.
just casting Bigfoot prints. We're fine. Nothing big
Yeah.
going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Hey, Squatsman's in the house. Hey,
Hey,
Squats.
Squatch man.
Just a big
Welcome,
old,
buddy. Welcome.
just a big old hill. Nothing to see here.
Yeah,
Nothing to see here.
he'll.
Yeah, we're good.
You're good, huh?
Yeah,
Don't
we're
worry.
good.
We'll be-
I got that on 3D scan, Sean, so you can check it out tonight. You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
so let's get into it, guys.
Let's go.
Let's
Look
go.
at this evidence. So, which one do you want me to bring up first? Oh,
You want to go?
that's right. I forgot something. You
What?
have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I do actually. You go over to.
Yeah, would you like to talk about it?
I do. I actually brought a QR code for you to bring up. It's a lot easier, but I'll say it if you like. Whatever you like is
Yeah,
easier for you.
please do, man. They want to hear
Yeah.
it from you.
No, check it out. Listen, Banter with Richie B on YouTube. Go over there, like and subscribe, and hit that notify button because we go out in the woods and we bring our audience members live, man, out in the woods. All our friends, they've all become friends. They're part of our investigation. They hear things, see things, point to things. We work together and we share our investigations with everybody, right, Wojo?
Exactly, Rich. We just
Absolutely.
whatever we see is what you see.
Absolutely. Live, unedited, uncut, nothing. It's right there and happening. That's where it gets posted. Hit that QR code. You go to TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all Banter with Richie B, and you will see there's all kinds of crazy evidence and fun. And I put a bunch of different videos together all the time and mix and match them. So it's a good time, man. So please definitely join us. We'd love to have you. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah, Squatsman says he got one that's 17 and a half inches.
That we run into that all the time. I'm telling you, 17 is crazy. It's like
17.
a number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why do you
It's
think
crazy.
that?
You know, I think it's location. I don't know. I think North America is kind of has its own kind of, species in a sense. I don't know what to say in that sense. Squatchman would probably be better to speak on that. But it seems like a lot of the males, that's probably maybe not near their peak, but definitely right up towards the average, right? So, but we've also measured 18 in, I think it was 3/4 one time. So there has been that bigger one occasionally that we have measured, you know what I mean? And that's how we identify what we're dealing with where we are in our locations, because my area bottlenecks. It's a lot smaller. It's not as vast as Alaska and British Columbia and where everybody else goes, right? So
Right.
we are kind of allowed to whoever's roaming that area to kind of measure them and see where they're at, right? I also have a juvenile print. Yeah, Squatchman, have you been hanging out at my house, bro? That's the same thing. We dealt with 6 and something quarters, and then now he's at 8 1/4 because we don't see the 6 anymore. We're almost following them as they grow. It's freaking nuts.
Yeah.
And we have many of them, pictures of impressions. We got the Scaniverse scans, and now we're popping off the cast, which I might add I'm kind of terrible at, but I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. I'm still new in that sense, but it's kind of neat to be able to tell who they are by their footprint. You know what I mean? Literally, right?
Why don't you give them a name instead of calling them 6 inches and 17 and a half inches?
I
I
like
give
that.
them a name, dude.
I think we'll name one Sean and the other one Kelly. Moving on.
Yeah, there you go.
There
Boom.
you go.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
I love it.
I
Your
am
idea.
actually-
Listen,
I'll be
we share
actually
it.
well known in England, man. Like England or Massachusetts.
That's
Yes,
the same
sir.
thing. New England, sir. New England. You're going to
New
start a
England.
revolution.
New
Settle
England.
down.
That's right. I don't know.
Don't drop the T.
When I think New England, I just think of them damn Patriots and those Boston.
Oh,
Here
I'm
we go.
There we go.
But you know what? That's for another day and another time. We're here to look at some evidence. And so,
Hit the huts.
Richie
Hit
and
the
Let's
hut.
go.
Mr.
Hit the
Rose,
huts.
hit the huts. That's
Yeah,
what I was
hit
going to
the
ask you. But before I hit the huts,
Yeah.
I just want to know, what do you, like paranormal investigators, they go out and they take pictures and they automatically go look at the pictures after they take the photo. Do you guys do that when you are Bigfoot hunting? Or do you wait until you get home and download everything?
A little bit of both. I was going to say a little bit of both. Yeah. I mean, you try to get that nice clear picture, and then when you come home and it's like you look at it like, geez, why is it not like not coming in so great or whatever? But then you come back the next day, you take another picture, and you just keep coming back for it. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And pictures
Okay.
pictures are important because like for instance, when you do paranormal investigating, you kind of click, right? And then you compare the pictures, right, to see if there was there before, during, or after, right? Well, we kind of do the same thing as far as my woods go because I'm out there enough. So I would take a picture of the whole area before I leave, and then when I come back, I take another picture. I can look at the pictures and see if, because I'm a structured dude and I'm not budging off of that. You can't make me. It's just the way it is. So I'll compare it and see if that structure was there before and how long ago it was there. So we're not just running around going structures, tree fall, Mother Nature. It's not about that. It's trying to make it into a form of research to help this field in any way we can, because we need to turn over every stone in a field that we don't have a lot of scientific or a body or any of that, right? So why not look at everything? I've been following a group by me for, there you go. So we're getting this. Listen, I would love to talk with you sometime because we're new compared to what you've done. I mean, I've been in this about a decade. Wojo's definitely new, but I haven't been a full-blown investigator, researcher either. But I would love to talk to you because that's the same type of conversation that Wojo and I have, and we just had it. And that's why he probably brought it up, because we're actually watching these things happen. You can go from breaks from certain heights. You can go from size of certain prints, and you can almost tell who's doing what.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I've been flanked 3 times, and I know the mother was over here and the juvenile was running free because that's what she was doing, was getting my attention to let her child go. It's just the way it was. And the one I got growled at, when I got growled at by one on the other side of the thicket, I believe that was the juvenile as he was growing up. I've been around him now. He's got to be in his mid-teens. You know what I mean?
Wow. That's so cool to hear.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. And Sean, a quick follow-up on the pictures is that most of my pictures I usually do follow-ups, meaning like structures and what have you. So you realize, you just figure out where your spots are. Okay. And then you try to do a reenactment. Like a few weeks later, you see a structure. Next thing you know, it's just torn apart. And you just stand pretty much with the same spot. You do take a picture and you go, what just happened?
Yes. It is like that. And D-Hoot is, D-Hoot's definitely a regular member of ours. Big Andy has been on investigations with us. You know what I mean? Jenny Davis, they're all part of like the Get Haunted network too. They're like family. You know what I mean? And so Squatch Man, 100%. I want to talk to you. I would love to talk to you even on our show, man. I think it would be great for us and as researchers to learn from a guy who's been following around for 40 years, bro.
And he knows his stuff. Squatch, I'll give you I give them their information for you, brother.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Thank you, Squatch Man. I really appreciate that. Much respect to you, my friend. I really do enjoy your stuff, by the way, too. I've been watching. I pay attention.
Hey, Denise Pack. Oh, my God. Hi, Denise. How's Ernie doing?
Hey, Denise.
Look, everybody knows Denise and Ernie, those two. Don't get us down. They were at the show last night that started all that stuff that took down the house. It was their fault. I tried telling everybody it was the Pack's fault. It wasn't ours.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Squatch.
So
all right, let's go.
Pictures, these are the huts.
Yes.
There we go.
So I got control of it now once it's up, and it does jump around a little bit. Not everything is in order. You know what I mean? So, but this here, we kind of stumbled upon it by going down a path. We believe in the structures. We kind of follow the structures, I say, right? And we kind of go behind them. And when we went, saw one on the path that looked odd, we want to go check and take away nature, right? Make sure nature is not an answer. So we start breaking it down and seeing if there's certain criteria that it meets. We know that Mother Nature more than likely didn't do it, right? I'm not saying a Bigfoot did it either. I'd never seen one make one, to be honest, right? And to be fair. But as we walked around, we walked up on like a complex. It was freaking nuts. We walked up to the first one. It was like really high, and all the trees were bent in like this. And as you walk, I walked right in. I always like walking in the middle of these things because I get a good vibe from them. Squatch Man might be able to relate with that. And right dead center in it, as I was walking in, there was this branch twisted around like 8 times and dangling. And I was like, what in the heck does that? So these guys went around the backside and started investigating further. And lo and behold, they walked up on this. And you could see this. I laid down in this and we measured it approximately 9.5 to 10 feet long. I'd say closer to 9.5. And then it was like 6 feet wide. And then, yes, Ernie, nice job, Ernie. That's right. We have Ernie Pack here. But the ground I did a Scanaverse on, right?
Right.
And you could see the indent with the Scanaverse. If you don't know what Scanaverse is, SCANI verse. You can scan the ground, you can scan prints, and it'll give you a 3D image. And I actually have these huts in a 3D image as well, which is something that was suggested to me by Alex Petikoff. He says, if you bring, he's not a structure guy. I showed him this. I show this to the wilderness experts that we know, the Vogel brothers. There's not a lot of explanation for it from all angles. It's not just us determining things. We reach out of the box and we talk to people that have been out in the woods, like Squatchman. I have a question. I'm going to reach out to Squatchman. Hopefully, I can build that relationship with him and have him as a resource.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Right?
I know you will.
It's not about ego, right, Woj?
No, not at all. That's why we network.
Yeah, I love it, and that's what we do. So we found basically 4 of these. And if you notice the bends on the left side, they're very odd bends, and some of them are almost stop and then bent. You know what I mean? I always attribute it to like a boiled carrot or something where you can just slowly bend it once it's kind of boiled, right? And that's what it looks like. It's very odd. And then what happens? They put stackings on top of it. That keeps the trees fresh, and it helps them grow out and not up away from what they're trying to accomplish, which is a shelter of sorts. Go ahead.
When you mean stackings, can you explain that, please?
So a lot of the things that we find that we kind of deem as kind of a shelter, a lot of it can be a natural shelter that they kind of tweak themselves. And one of the things they'll take they'll take a tree above it 9 times out of 10. And this is the other thing is the consistency in the research. The trees snap, and you can see where it snapped, and it's laid over the top of these, and it kind of holds them down. So when they try to grow, they can't really. This is an assumption. This is a hypothesis, which is an educated guess. So when they try to come up, they grow over and not up because they can't go up. So that's what we see on a lot of these types of shelters. You know what I mean? That we believe are shelters. Not only that, real quick, if Wojo remembers, Brian Terrell out of Red Dirt Cryptid down in Oklahoma. We had a very astute member of our crew there, and she reached out because she saw him. He had one very similar in Oklahoma. And you see him on video going, hey, we might have a piece of evidence here. So he felt the same way. So it wasn't, once we did that, I set up a StreamYard meeting with him, and we talked and we compared our huts and had conversation. Yeah. So that's what you got to do. Put away your egos and just, put away the ridicule and all that stuff, and just have a nice, healthy conversation about this subject or any subject you're talking about. And you'll get places,
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's that particular hut. I probably have the 3D photo in here. So this is the area around it. You start noticing all the tree bends, and it looks like a pile of trees. And everybody's like, look at these idiots. It looks like tree fall. But when you're there, it's totally different. What's up, Kelly Porter? How are you, my friend? Cobble Mountain Critter Projects in the house. So it jumps around a little bit. So if you don't mind, I'm sorry. I'm a novice at technology as well.
Dude, no problem, man. You got
thanks,
control,
brother. Thank you, man. Thank you. And Wojo, I'll include you in too. So thank you.
I was wondering if you were going to do that.
I'll pick 5 points, Bell.
He's biting at the bit to share his.
So this is what I call obviously the T. As you can see, it's 30 feet long. It's located on my property, and it's just balanced on the whatever it was broken off from. I walked up on it and I was like, wait, what is going on? And to give you a visual of my area, 3 acres of land, nothing huge, but it abuts 94 acres of conservation. There's about a 1.1 miles almost exactly is what's called the Taunton River. And it comes right across the back of the property, and all of it bottlenecks right to my fence. There's not many ways in there. There's not many ways out of there, especially during this time, And I found that. I was like, that's kind of creepy. You know what I mean? So these are the things that started getting me kind of going, right? This particular picture is I was doing an investigation out in a section of conservation area, and it was January, I believe, freezing cold. I walked by an impression, and I looked down and I said, real quick, I actually took 2 steps beyond it and backed up, and I said, wait a minute, what is that in there? And inside, in the middle of January, was, to me, looks like a frozen toe, and then toes off to the right of it. You can even see the little circle separation that we get between our big toes and our next toe, and it's ice. It's frozen. It was like right there. It was a gift. I was like, wow, you got to be kidding me. So, I try to gather the evidence, but it just didn't make sense. I don't, and it was pretty big. I have actually, if you go to my YouTube channel, I actually have the full size picture of it. It might even be in here. I don't know in that sense. I'm going to go by. Oh, there you go. So this is the 3D version of the hut. I tried to take a, go ahead, Wojo.
I was going to say, but when you look at that hut, Sean, I mean, look at the green on top of it. It's like it's preserving the nature of it. And the thing is, folks, these are not broken trees. They're just bent from the where it meets the ground up and over. But there's also added pine trees that were pulled from the knot, and they just like stack them from the sides and what have it for extra protection. And they usually yank down like just like a twisty 90 degrees right on top, just to keep this all in place. Of a break of a 90-degree tree.
Is that hut still there?
We have not been out there in a little while, but we do have plans to go back to this area. It's about 2 hours from us.
And actually, from this picture, we found a shed that I still have in my truck.
A deer shed.
A deer shed, yeah, about 30 yards away. Okay. And you got water around us, so there's a lot of food, a lot of deer that go around there, and you get a lot of water. And like I said, this is like nature in its finest right here. It's finding these 4 to 5 huts that we found.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, we're looking at it like it's nature, and then you start getting close to it, and you look to the left side, you start seeing that crazy bend in the trees, and there's like 10, 12, 13, and you start going, okay, maybe ice, maybe wind, maybe magic whirlwind. I have no idea. And then you start looking closer, and then there's the one next to it, and you're like, wait a minute, dude. Like, this doesn't, now it's not add up. You know what I mean? As far as Mother Nature goes. And then on top of that, like the ones we found down the street from where I'm sitting right now, it's the same thing. There's broken trees on top of it holding it down, and lo and behold, I find a shattered deer leg out in front of it. And I mean shattered, fractured, ripped apart, and there's no bone marrow in it. And it was like right there. Now next to that is where I find this print. So again, I talk about this in the paranormal world, right? Piece of evidence, structure, piece of evidence. Now I have 3 pieces of evidence that kind of validates each other, or at least it ups the ante of validity, correct? Right. So that's what we're going for. Again, folks, we're not just, Bigfoot did this and Bigfoot did that. That ain't what we're doing. We're out there trying to do process of elimination. And now we're getting kind of good at it, where we kind of know what we're looking at, and we kind of know what we're dealing with. Because in that same area I mentioned, we'll bring up in a little bit that 3D scan of that hill that I just showed you the cast of. The 3D scan is insane.
Yeah.
So this was my first structure right here. That's why I have it here. This is when I walked out with my kids on my property at the end of my game trail. This tree was, parallel. You're like, oh, that landed there. That's pretty neat. I wonder how that thing landed perfectly. I put a level on it. And then I walked up to it on the left side, and there were sticks over the tree and then sticks wrapped under the tree holding it in place.
Wow.
And I looked at my kids and I said, let's head back, guys. You know what I mean? Because I kind of hit me that usually have to have thumbs to do that. And it was about 8 feet up on the left side. That tree, the leaves dropped down. That's a moss mound.
Have you ever tried recreating one yourselves?
All right. So no, I haven't in a sense. And I don't, I feel that it's sacred to the creature that, and I don't try to emulate. I don't, we don't try to grab it and bend it or break it. You know what I mean? But no, I haven't tried to make one. And some of them are just so massive and crazy that it's a moot point in that sense, and I hate for them to see us doing that. Right, Wojo?
Yeah. I mean, John, we're talking about probably like from 3 inches to like about 12 inches thick. And some of these structures, you give it a little tug. And I'm a strong guy, very strong guy. And just tugging it, I'm like, it's just a waste of my time. So you know what? I don't even bother really like messing around with these structures anymore, because it's just the torque that on twists and like this big tree right here. I mean, just moving it around, it's just phenomenal. So absolutely. We like to keep it sacred too.
Mr. Sidewalk says, even I can say with the outdoor experience investigating with them, the trees that curve were not done by other trees and also were braided together.
Yep.
Thick trees do not braid in nature and so high up. Then I like what Claude had to say.
Yeah, I love
If
what
the-
Claude had to say. Yep.
If a tree is damaged as a
Yep.
sapling, it
Yep.
can grow in a bent fashion, to play devil's advocate. Joe
And-
Fox, how are you, my friend?
What's up, Joe? And Claude, thank you, man. It's been a while. We haven't seen you. I miss you, buddy. Very smart dude, Claude is. He always gets you thinking, right? So to play, playing devil's advocate is absolutely welcomed. And matter of fact, we have I have Bigfoot with a fan, and we have Sasquatch with a skeptic. So we're not afraid either way. It doesn't matter. And we leave you out there and let you look around. And nobody's going to argue with you. Whatever you see is what it is. But the Native Americans actually used to bend trees and break trees and stuff like that, so they did grow that way. There's a lot of point to the water in the hole of the game trail, and that's documented too. So what he's saying is not wrong. That does happen, and Mother Nature can do that too, just like he just said. But when you start finding all these other pieces together, you know what I mean, and you put them together, like I said, you have evidence piece 1, evidence piece 2, and then you run into that tree structure, and now you have 3 pieces of evidence in a central location. Now you have to start going, okay, wait a minute, something's going on here, right?
Exactly.
Now this one on the left, it's on my left. I don't know if it's on y'all, but the little tree is a 360 twist. It's twisted 360 degrees and then snapped to the ground.
This
it's not
one here.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I can't. There's a pointer.
My left or your left?
It looks like it's my left where I am.
How about this? The opposite from the picture of Richie. How's that?
Yeah. There you go. Thank you, Wojo. That's why we have Wojo around. He's our co-host. Me and Sean co-host tonight. So that's a 360 twist. So it's not a bend or break. It's not a 180. It's absolutely twisted all the way around and then pushed to the ground. And that's right on my game trail, like 50 feet from my fence. It's pretty rotted out now, but I've never touched it. I never disturbed it. So the discussion is on the right with me with my hands up. That's called the suspended tree. Very creative, right? But if you notice behind me, you see an arch, right? There's an arch there, and it looks like there's like an X in the middle of the arch, right?
Can you bring that up there?
Well, I'm going to show you this picture, and then I'm going to move through, and you're going to see that whole structure. So if you look over my shoulder right now, you'll see an arch. It's about a 40-foot elm tree or whatever, and it's bent all the way down to the ground. And then there's trees designed in the middle of it, right? And we're going to buzz right by this different things here. And then that's it. That's what was behind me.
Oh, wow.
So we call that the dream catcher. So that's right on my property line leading out to the conservation area. I did research on it, and I found a book that somebody had happened to write. I don't know the gentleman. I don't, people all have opinions about everybody. I don't know who he is. I just did the research, and he had a book in 2016, and this was the cover of his book. I found the structure in 2021. Wow. And I had someone go, "Oh, it's just kids." And I'm like, "Do you understand that's a 40-foot fresh tree that's still alive? All that foliage up top that you see, all that green, is its branches. That's all live. It's 100% live. And there's nobody going out there with an engineering degree messing around in this location to do that. It's not happening." Yeah. So that is an improbability, 0%. Sorry, folks. That one I ain't giving you. You want to do twisties and huts and argue, that's great. But on this one, not happening, right? Praying and practicing, no. Nobody generally goes out there. Bridgewater Triangle does have a long history of different practices and stuff like that. Yeah. They would particularly need a crane, a come along, some spikage, knowledge, all kinds of things. So these are different things I found in the book. The right side is what I found in the book. The left side is in my yard. You know what I mean? So it's the asterisk. So I started comparing the different things I was finding to this book, which I thought it was neat that anybody even knew about them, because I kind of stopped and was curious to look in the first place, right? I've encountered similar, but never really understood what I was looking at. Yeah, and I've been at those moments, Joe, where I have not understood what I was looking at, right? Well, here we go. So remember the picture that I showed you, and I said, look at the arch behind me. I had a white shirt. There's a suspended tree. This is a couple of years later. That dream catcher is behind me right now in this picture, and it's the letter A, and it's snapped right at the peak, broken, destroyed. And where it's broken from, a human is not going to reach 12 feet up to try to break an 8-inch fresh elm. It's not happening. You can't do it. You know what I mean? And Wojo's seen this. Wojo took the picture, right, bro?
Yeah. So, folks, anybody that's using your phone and you're on here, you can actually, you can actually zoom in on your screen, just to have you guys know. Anyways, going back to the picture, Sean, that like I told you earlier, is that we try to do a reenactment of the picture. So we did the before. Richie had the before. We just did an after in pretty much the same exact spot. But look, what do you say, Rich? About 10, 12-inch tree, the base of it. And, dude, it is so super strong. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's pretty massive.
That is so interesting, man. These are so cool.
It's crazy. And this is research, though. This is, for us, this is the research. We're not just walking around the woods and yelling Bigfoot. We're trying to figure it. We're trying to figure it out. And that's what we're doing, man. And that's why we talk to people, and that's why we get with people. That's why people like, Squatch Man are invaluable. The packs, they're invaluable. They know a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And it's important to have them in your corner. We have resources like Claude. Claude comes on the show. Sky's another one who's been out there. So, D-Who, everybody contributes to this. We are not about ourselves. I pay for all my stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here strictly for the passion. When I lost my son on 4/24/22, baby Jack, love you, buddy. He awoken the passion in me. And I said, what subject am I most passionate about? Besides, of course, my children and my family. What subject, though? And I went Bigfoot, man. Because I was working in my yard, and he came to me. I didn't go looking for a cryptid. I didn't go, I'm going to go find Bigfoot because this show is really cool. I was in my yard working, man, getting stuff thrown at me, hearing stuff breaking. Like, you can hear it in me. It's passion. This is what I love this. And I want to be connected to this. And I'm connected to my land. I'm connected to them. I respect them. I don't even know if I'd ever tell you guys if I ever saw one because of what we would probably do. And the area is so small, I'd be afraid to, and that's the truth of the matter for me.
Yep.
What would you do if you saw one? This is for you, Wojo, and you, Richie B. What would you do if you actually saw it in face to face? I'm not talking 15, 20 feet away. What would you do?
Well, I'll probably, let me see. First of all, I'll probably die on the spot. I'll probably bring a change of clothes. I'll be honest. First of all, I'll be overwhelmed and you want to get out. As for let's see if you took a picture or something like that. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, it's cool. But at the same time, look, I'm here to preserve and respect these creatures, if whatever they are out there. I don't want to see anybody come by and try to look for them and harm them. I probably wouldn't even really show it to anybody at all. It'd be hard not to. I'm no fool. But I will say, you just want to kind of keep that respect and that, and keep researching them too.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's a tough subject for me. I would treat it like any other creature. And, and there's a lot of talk about, the different, maybe dimensional or something like that, you know what I mean? Or orbs and, and I don't know anything about that. I've never experienced that, you know what I mean? And I would never say no one else experienced that, so I would treat it as an animal for me. So I would have my back away from it. I would slowly walk away. I would definitely click pictures. And I would introduce myself as Banter with Richie B on YouTube, like and subscribe. So I would definitely do that.
Have you moved overnight on location?
We have on a location, not this particular location. So this area here is tricky. For one, I own the property with my first wife. I'd have to get, permission from my first wife, which is really hard to do. No, she's cool. We're cool. But that's coming up. We are going to be doing a night investigation at this location. Absolutely.
Yeah, Rich, can I just do a quick add-on onto that of our question? Because you know what? Humans destroy. We just destroy everything, and we screw things up. So if I was to go around, if you think you're going to try to get fame just to show them Bigfoot, you're going to really mess things up for these creatures and for everything else around it.
Yeah.
So that I wanted to add that in also. So
yeah, and I like Ernie brought up, and absolutely Ernie, you know what I mean? No, I have not. But if you go further into the Bridgewater Triangle, by the way, everybody look up Bridgewater Triangle, southeastern Massachusetts, United States. You will see some crazy stories on that.
We did a show on that about 3 or 4 years ago.
Let's do another one, man. We'd have a ball. I got all kinds of stuff for you from that place. I live in it. That's where I am right now. You know what I mean? So
that's why I believe there is no such thing as coincidences. Everything happens for a reason.
Exactly.
Here with you, my brother.
Yep. Amen.
Tim Wojo is the creature 5x5.
Oh,
that's Tom McKeever. He says hi,
Mr. McKeever.
So in the middle, as you can see, everybody can look at the middle picture. This is frozen, really cold. Again, I forget the month, maybe February or something. It was really, really, really cold. And I call Wojo, and I'm like, dude, it's cold. This is our best chance to get a print in a compost laden area. So I'm like, rather than dealing with leaves and pine needles that are frozen and you can never get anything, definite. Let's go out now. And we did. We run out there. We actually found a trackway, and one of them was like a busted up hill. Other ones were scuff marks. And then we came up upon this, and I went, dude, look it. I couldn't believe it. And this measures around 17 inches, by the way, Squatch.
Yeah.
If you're still there, brother.
It was like 17 by 8 1/4. And by the way, if you look closely at Richie's bat, this was like a mistake of finding this because as he smashed a tree, the bat flew off, landed on the ground, and Richie just picks it up, and then he looks over and goes, "Oh, what's that?"
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
Cool.
I was like, what's that? And then I showed it to my 13-year-old. I say, hey, buddy, what do you see? He goes, Dad, I see a big footprint. And I go, how do you know it's a big footprint, buddy? And he goes, toe separation, Dad. Toe separation. And there you go. So this area is pretty crazy and fun. And we enjoy going there. If you would like, we can jump right to that 3D scan so people can put that together. And then we got some crazy sound for them.
Here we go.
There you go. That's the scan of the hill. Almost a 3/4 foot. I poured it thin to try to get some.
Is that the right one?
Yeah, no, that's it, man. Yeah, that's it. So I casted this, but I tried to pour it thin, but the ground was just crazy. So StreamYard and Scaniverse don't always get along. Sometimes you got to bump it and kind of get it moving again. But you could see the depth and the shape of this hill. Where see how it's rounded and kind of misshapen, right? We don't have a factory cut to it, right? And then it kind of starts spreading out on the left side. You can almost see the toe splash coming down. You know what I mean? Where it's starting to get wide, where it's starting to get wider. So that hill there is, I think it's right around 5 inches. Now that I've casted it, it's actually like a scotia over 5 inches. It's pretty massive. And we measured Wojo's on the site with his boots on, and they were like 3.5? 3.5 something?
Barely 3.5, yeah.
Yeah, wow. And he's a big dude. So we were like, oh my goodness, But
so John, in this picture though, if you look at the heel, it's like what do you think, Rich? About 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches, right? But it's going upward though, right? Right, with the toes, like heading towards where the toes are. You're going kind of like in an upward position.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Claude was leaving. You know how that is.
All right, Claude. Well, thank you for coming in, buddy.
So that's I'll do one more spin for you guys so you can check it out. So this is called Scaniverse. That's my motion basically that I set, and I can get a nice, clean, clear look. You know what I mean? Right. At everything. You can go in closer. You can actually sometimes you can really see. Like, you can find, look underneath. You can see the depth and you can see the leaves. You can see this is mostly wet compost, not necessarily mud. And if you or I are standing on this type of surface, it's like barely even an imprint.
Right.
Like barely an imprint, man. And I'm about 220 now, and Wojo, same with him. It's barely an imprint, Right. So, yeah. So it's pretty.
Don't lie. I'm 300.
I was going to lie.
When you said that weight, there, Mr. Richie B.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, I bet Wojo's happy that he just said that you were 200 pounds.
Oh, I was thrilled, but you know what? We're here for the truth.
Yeah.
Joe Fox has a question. Could Bigfoot have hammer toes?
Oh, sure. Why not? And, that's it. That's actually a good question. I know you got the laugh
Very good
emojis, but yeah, because there's been casts that have been made of all kinds of different breaks and different shapes, and big fat flat toes, broken toes. They think it's broken. It could be birth defect. We don't know.
Very wide toes, like.
Oh, they've been deformed and all kinds of like underneath each other. And everybody always associates that with, oh, there was an accident and he broke his toes. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case, man. That doesn't have to be the case. It could be something like, they were born like that,
Right.
Or maybe it's in their genes or DNA. Maybe it's from inbreeding. It could be anything, man. We don't know. That's why we turn over every stone and we use Scaniverse when we're doing a print so we can find out what's going on, because anything's possible.
Really cool. That is like really seriously cool. That was a good answer too, let alone a good question. Dude, we got about 9 minutes or left.
Bring up that blue and white one. That's right, Jim. We're about to get data crazy. Yep.
Everybody, I want you to know that we got a message from Bigfoot, and it's telling you guys and us that thank you for believing in me.
And like and subscribe to Banter.
So here, and like and subscribe to Banter with Richie B and my show Into the Night. Just go to the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society Facebook page and
let's go
subscribe. But this is for every one of y'all.
Yep.
Amen.
So all right,
sorry.
No, I'm gonna put it there for you, Wojo. You could take it away. I'm gonna put it there for you, right?
Okay, all right, you ready to play it one more time? Because folks, towards the end, after the voice, it's like he's disgusted. He's just breaking stuff as he's going by. You can hear the loud snaps of the trees.
Yeah. Again, 2 pieces of evidence in one shot, right?
One shot.
Now you're hearing a physical break, but he's making sounds and noises, right? And this is off of a security camera at a guy's house. He actually had to call his neighbor across the street and said, "Hey, that came from your backyard, bro."
Yeah.
And then he called us to investigate. So here we go. I'm just going to play it like towards the end anyway, so you can hear the breaks. So listen right away for the breaks. Right there.
Yep, I heard that.
Yep, right there.
That's loud. Even playing this is very loud. It's very chilling.
One more time. You hear the brakes?
Nice.
So that puts it together, right? That puts it together that there's something out there, right?
Yes.
There's something out there, and it's a different sound for me. I mean, I've had some whoops come back to me. I've been growled at. I've actually heard samurai chatter, and I heard it with Dave McCullough from Squatchachusetts and a folklorist and an author on the Bridgewater Triangle that brought Dave McCullough there because they heard that there was some things going on, and I was very selective about who was there. And that's what we heard. We heard samurai chatter. So this sound here, we literally heard him talking back and forth. But this sound here is really the tone of it, and the grumbliness of it isn't really that far off from even hearing crystal clear, it was just like that. Right. So it's not far off from what I heard. It was absolutely insane, and it was probably one of the epic moments in my life to stand there in awe with my mouth on the ground.
Aren't they the greatest?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So yeah, if you want to bring up the last one, now it's not as loud. I got other ones too, but I don't think we have time. But so here we go. Listen to this one here. This one here is the rated #1 scariest moment in Wojo's Bigfoot career. Right, Wojo?
Oh God, yeah.
So when you hear it here, it's through a GoPro and it's through your system, right? But when you're standing right on the edge of this river and there's water with travel and ice everywhere, that's all, it just echoes is my point, I guess. I'll shut up now. Here we go. That's Mother Nature, bro. Oh, what was that? Hey, stop. Right? Listen again. Here we go. I'm going to do it again. Right after I make that weird Mother Nature comment. That's Mother Nature, bro. Oh, what was that? You hear that? Do you guys hear that loud, huge slam? Hey, stop. It was like two trees being slammed together. It wasn't, and over in the area across where we are, there's nothing there. Like I was telling you, Sean, backstage before the show, there's nothing there. And like, it's almost a quarter mile up. You got like a neighborhood way off in the distance, right? But then you come down here and you got to go traverse all these hills and swamplands and things like that, because it's the other side of the river. So it's wetland. And that side of the river overflows and crests a lot.
Yeah.
So we were in the middle of a huge, crazy rain season. In the winter, it wasn't cold enough to snow, but it was coming down like cold, wet, frozen rain. So a lot of things were frozen and everything. And then all of a sudden, we're talking because there was this cool piece of ice on a tree, and my silly, me being silly, is like, dude, now that's Mother Nature. It looked like one of those things in the doctor's office that goes, and that's what we heard. We went like that. And immediately after those two bangs, we had one crystal clear knock behind us, right, Wojo?
Yeah. So after I was like 30 yards away from Richie, and when I heard those two trees slam, I'm looking at him in shock. But then there was a delayed knock behind us, and there's like a little marsh inlet off where this river is, and it just sounded like something's crashing through right after, and the hairs were just coming through my sweatshirt. I was horrified and then he looks at me and goes, "We're being flanked," and it's just very eerie. It was something.
Yeah, in that same area, and Sky brought it up, is that same area we had 20 minutes of like rock clacking and stuff. So we know there's activity over there. And sorry, Joe, it was hard. I think something's up with StreamYard. It's been acting really weird. It was kind of skipping a little bit. But if you listen to it back on the show and put some headphones on, you know it's wood on wood. You absolutely know you can hear the wood on wood. Bang, bang. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's been a magical time for us. And for myself to come out of like to the Bigfoot world and say, this is what's been happening to me, and people accepting me and pretty much, I got to be honest with you, it's been an amazing experience. You get that one guy here or there, the guy, the one on the couch that doesn't really get out, you know what I mean? But that doesn't even bother me because, like I said, I have my son and nothing scares me. Nothing can ever make me feel that pain again. Right. So I just love what I'm doing, and I love that me and Wojo are closer now. I love all the people on the side that can participate. I love meeting guys like you and getting to say hi to the whole world. What's up, world?
Yeah, and your audience too, Sean, with all these questions. And you know what? With our audience, your audience, I mean, that's the beauty of everything. And thank you for having us on here, because I know an hour, it's tough to try to squeeze it all in. But I'll tell you, folks, it is something, and there's just been more evidence coming in as we're talking, because we're still going.
Fact, I'm going to have you guys back on again.
Why don't you come on our show?
Sure.
And we'll share the rest of our
bring your audience, bring everybody.
We'll share the rest of our evidence with you on our show. Right?
Okay.
Imagine that. So rather than just coming on and being interviewed as a paranormal guy, you actually come on and hang out with the Bigfoot guys and review the evidence. Oh yeah, man, my creative juices are always flowing.
Thank you for the invite. Joe says Sean is a great host.
I love him.
Sean's awesome.
Great guy.
But
he's a friend now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, last question. We got to get going here.
Yes, sir.
What was the most scariest thing you ever experienced on the Bigfoot investigation?
Well,
what do you got? Is that it right there? We just played that, right?
Yeah.
How about you?
Oh, me?
Yeah, Rich.
Yeah, you.
So when I wasn't on an investigation, I stepped out of my camper in my backyard around 9 o'clock at night and heard a loud crunch. Okay. And I freaked out like that, and then something ran across, like my heavy wetland wooded areas, and I went over there to kind of look what's going on, and then all of a sudden back to my left I had like trees breaking, and I was like, What is that? And I started backing up slowly to my house. I was like, with my eyes on him, like, I believe that was Mama letting little dude get away.
Okay, I
And
believe
mind
that.
you, I've been flanked and growled at. So, but that right there startled me, man. And the 9 bangs on the tree, dude, there's so many of them. If any kind of a human at all, it's intimidating, man. But that moment scared the hell out of me because I didn't know if she was going to get mad and protect her child. And I went back in the can and the tuna can and shut the door like I was safe in there.
Right.
I'm in my camper like, can't get me now. You know?
Well, gentlemen, thank you again for being
Thank you.
on. I also want to thank uh, the the visitors or the people who follow Richie B.
Yes.
Banter with Richie B for coming in and participating in the chat room. If you guys could like do a little thing like, if you want to come and subscribe to my YouTube, I'm on there or whatever, come to my show, go to my page, Pittsburgh Paranormal Society Facebook page, and whenever my show comes on, it will show up there. And thank you, Tim Vogel, great show. Andrew DeSanti Sr. says, great show, guys. Thank you. Mary Newbert says, great show. Have a great night. Much love to you all. Much love to you too,
Much
Mary.
love to you all. Tim Vogel's a legend. Not a
All right.
hugger. Not a hugger, but he's a
Not a
legend.
hugger.
You know what? I'm not. You're welcome, Psylocke. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, listen, I'm going to put you in the back, so I can close up here.
Yes, sir.
So,
Thank
again,
you,
thank you so much for coming on, and I'll see you in a couple minutes, guys.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, folks. There you have it. Some decent, awesome evidence with some very decent and awesome people. I'm just grateful that Mr. Wojo sent me a message and talked about it. And I don't know, it's just like when I first talked to Wojo about it, I was just like, I like this guy. And then I got to meeting Richie, and I see, I like this guy. So it's a good relationship being brewing here. And thank you, Joe Fox. I appreciate it. And thank you for coming on. I don't know who's coming on next Sunday, so I will tell you later on in the week. But children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you have no parents and if you have no children, find somebody and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And on that note, before that note, I want to thank Carnation for sponsoring my show on Tuesdays and Sunday nights. And on that note, good night. And definitely we'll see you on Sunday night.